Hi, everybody. I'm Trin Johnson, and welcome to Dust in My Eye. Well, World Watercolor Month is winding down, and I thought I would do a little sketchbook tour and then paint my last one on camera. So if that sounds like your cup of tea, grab one and sit down and join me, and we'll get started. And while I'm thinking of it, if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. And if you want to be notified of future videos, hit the cute little bell. Also, once again, I have not gotten my ring light plug situation fixed yet. So I hope that you can see. I hope it's not too dark. So we're going to give it a go. So I'm using mostly this aquarelle watercolor fontaine paper from Clairefontaine. I got this down in Chile. It's 100% cotton, and it was 12 sheets, so I had to add some paper to it. I ended up adding 100% cotton B paper to it, and that is interspersed, and then mostly at the end there's more B paper at the end, but there's some in the middle too. So anyway, let's get started. So these are the prompts. I stick that in there so I can remember it in the future and can refer to it as I'm going through my book. So the first one is, let's do that like that, pattern. And I painted this in watercolor and a little bit of gouache. The background is watercolor. And this is a Petoskey stone, and there's some fossils. This cool foot fossil was really neat. I have a video on painting this particular painting. I will link that, so if you want to watch it being painted, you can just click on that link. And then the next day was flowering. The next day was rush. And this is a flowering rush. I'll get this figured out. And this is mostly the background is watercolor. I did that a lot. The background's watercolor, and then it's gouache and watercolor for the subject matter. And I think that was a picture off Pixabay or Pexels. I'm not sure which. This is a picture I took of one of my kitties, and she was sitting in the backyard and had just turned her head. And this is Turn. Again, a watercolor background, watercolor and gouache on the kitty. Then we have Signal. This is the lighthouse, one of the lighthouses coming into Mackinac Island, and up in Lake Huron. And I think this one is mostly watercolor. It might have a tad of gouache on it. I'm not sure. It's from a picture I took myself. We go up there. We used to go up there every year. Now we don't quite get up there every year. But this one is Patch. And I went with a soul patch. This is my daughter's cat, Ed. And Ed has this cute little soul patch. He's a really cute little kitty cat. Anyway, that's one of her boys. She has Edward and Alphonse, Full Metal Alchemist kitties. Alphonse is all black. He's harder to paint. This one is Rusty, and I got this picture, I think, off Pexels or Pixabay. I can never remember which one I got which off of. And I just painted this cool rusty fence. This one is Study, and this was a study of my tomatoes from my backyard. I went out and took some photos of my tomatoes and did a study of them. Again, I think there's a little gouache on that. And then we have Feather, and there is a short, which I'll link, of this painting this one. And this was a photo I got, again, off Pexels or Pixabay a long time ago. It was in my in my gallery, and because we were painting feathers, I think, in watercolor class at some point. Anyway, made a very nice specimen to paint, and that definitely has some gouache on it. But this one was very planned out, so I intended from the beginning. This is Trunk, and I have this really cute little fluffy elephant, and I sat him up and took some pictures of him. And this one's got a little pen and ink kind of on it too, a little ink and wash, however you want to say it. And that was on the 9th. On the 10th, this was buried, and it was a piece of driftwood that was buried in the sand that I had taken a picture of. And that one definitely has a little gouache on it too. This one is all gouache, and it is a huddle. And it's a huddle of walruses, which is apparently what you call a group of walruses. Huddle of walruses, huddle of penguins. I was trying to decide which one to do. I found this cool picture with this big guy, and that's what I went with. This one is Scratch, and this is one of our kitties is polydactyl. And so she has many, many claws, like very hard when you try to clip, because I can never tell if I've gotten them all or not. And she has these big giant mitten paws. And so that's what I did for Scratch. And now we have Arch. And this is Arch Rock on Mackinac Island. I have taken many photos of this. I've been up there many times. But this was my first attempt at painting it. So it was kind of fun. I always was a little intimidated by it. And so it was a good excuse to do that one. This is Spiral, and I looked up Spiral and got Spiral Galaxies, and I thought, well, that'd be fun. We'll do a galaxy painting. So it is loosely based on a photograph, but really just putting colors down. So then on the 15th, it was Vitamin, and I decided Vitamin C was a good one. And so I got this picture again off either Pexels or Pixabay. I did not have any oranges in my house, and painted this in gouache with a watercolor background. The next one was Fiber, and I painted these really cool cotton bowls. And there is a video of me painting this. If you are interested in that, I'll link that above. This was a lot of fun to paint. I really enjoyed these colors, and it's such a pretty subject matter. And this one are clematis or clematis. I'm not ever sure which way that word goes. And these are around my back deck. I have this huge plant that has these really pretty purple flowers, and the word was plant. So I went with that. And then this time it was record or record. I went with record. I found this picture again on Pexels or Pixabay. I can't tell you which one. And I started this out. I taped it off, and I did a flat black ink background. I think it was carbon ink, platinum, carbon, platinum, platinum, carbon, however you say that. And then I let that dry, and then I painted the hand and the microphone with gouache. And that was a neat little project. And then this one is Widen. And we have down by our cottage, there's a creek or a river. It's called the Little River. And it's usually this little teeny thing that kind of dies off around there. And in the spring, it just widens out at the base. And it went on for quite a ways before it meandered its way out to the lake. It was really cool. So I went ahead and painted that for Widen. And you can see a tiny little blue roofed building in the background. I have painted that building many, many times. It's really kind of fun to paint. This was striped, and I thought, oh, I'll do it. This picture was really cool. It had 2 zebras in it. I only wanted one. And I did this watercolor background and then gouache for the zebra. Not my favorite, but you know, it works for the prompt. It was just, zebras are very black and white, and I found that difficult to paint, oddly. This one is filter, and in trying to come up with a word for filter, a picture for filter, we started talking in the car about filter feeder plants and fish that clean the water. And so this is an anemone, and that's what they do. And of course, I think, is it a clownfish that Nemo fish that lives in the anemone? Anyway, that one was filter. And this was also a watercolor background with gouache. I like watercolor black backgrounds behind my gouache. This one was pull, and my sister said, oh, I have these really cute pull toys. I'll send you a picture. So that's what she did, and that's what I used for pull. Again, it's mostly watercolor with a little bit of gouache. And then tidal was the next one. And I wanted it to not just be a beach with water, but actually like the tidal pool. So I don't know if this reads on camera, but there's a real little bit of water on this part. It's like a tidal pool. So I thought that worked well for the prompt title. And then we have effervescent. And this one I added a little sparkle to. I don't know if you can see it. See if I bring it up here higher. Yeah, it shows up a little bit. That was kind of fun. And then the next day was luminous, and my grandson's hair is just crazy. Although he did just get a haircut, but he's just a little guy, and his hair was all backlit by the sun and was kind of luminous. And I thought that would be a fun reason to paint a picture of him. So that's what that one is. He was so cute, just giggling. Then global was the next one, and I found this on Pexels or Pixbay, not sure which, but I thought it was a nice representation. It was a child holding one of those little tiny globes that we've all seen many times, and I thought that was kind of cool for reference. This was obstacle, and in researching obstacle, I kept coming up with fences, and I thought, oh, I know this picture I took. This is on the Dingle Peninsula, going through the mountain pass on our way back to Dublin, and there was this fence, and then there was a cliff, and I was a little terrified the whole way through the mountain, trying to take pictures, but trying not to look and trying to look at the same time, because I'm a little scared of heights, and it was a little terrifying, but that's what that one is. And sweet, this one is a galette. I made, I think it was somewhere around Thanksgiving, but it wasn't for Thanksgiving. Probably had some leftover berries and such, but it's from a photo I took. Watercolor and gouache. And then Serenity. I was thinking about a certain ship named Serenity, but painting spaceships are not my thing. So I went with the sunset on the beach from a photo I had taken up at the cottage. And that was kind of fun. It was all in layers. Just a tad of gouache at the end for some of the highlights. And then second to last, we have deck. And this is a little pot of herbs that I have on the deck. I try to plant every summer, and this was from years ago. The photo was, although the pot is still there and it still has herbs in it. I have to replant them every year, though. And that was the reference I used for deck. Now, today it's shell, and I took this picture on the beach in Gulf Shores, and I just taken a bunch of shells and made a flower or someone had taken a bunch of shells and made a flower. I don't know that I did it or if I just took a photo of it. I'm not sure. It was a few years back, but I had this photo in my photo reference and in my gallery. So that is the picture I'm going to paint because I thought that would be kind of fun. I'm thinking, again, a watercolor background, but painting all the shells primarily in gouache. So if you'd like to watch that, stick around here, and I'm probably going to speed it up so this video is not too long. And again, thank you for joining me for this sketchbook tour. And let's get painting. So if you follow my channel, you'll know that I just filled this tiny palette with gouache to have a tiny travel gouache palette. And I had to spray the lid yet and get this inside. And it is all ready to go. A little tricky to get the thing to pop up, but I thought I would give this a try on my last painting and see how it works and see if I have the right colors because I'm thinking I kind of set this up to be able to paint on the beach, and this is a beach picture. So these are the colors that are in there. I'll set that up for my reference. And these are the things I have in my little bag with it. I have an eyedropper so I can get some water on them to get them reconstituted a little bit before I start. And I have some Viva paper towel, some cotton swabs to clean it up afterwards if it's really messy. And then I have this little jar of white gouache because I wanted my white gouache not dried. So I bought these little teeny jars, which is also in a video. I can link that. And then I, just to be on the safe side, because I didn't know if they'd leak or not, I put a little press and seal plastic wrap, which is very pressed on right now, so that it couldn't leak. And this is a mixture of white gouache with some watercolor medium in it. So it's a little on the softer liquidy side than it would be if it was straight out of the tube. And it helps keep it wet. And also having it in a sealed container helps keep it wet. But I have lots of, I have this in a lot of different forms. I have it in this squeezy bottle that I use generally at my desk. And it works really well and stays really nice and wet. So I wanted that for this kit. I wanted to be able to have some white gouache like that. So that's what's in there. I have a pen, a liner, a round that's small for, and a couple of flats. So that's what I have in here now. I also have a little book that I'm done mostly watercolor, but some gouache in, and so I can stick it in my bag here and have something small to paint on. And let's see, I have two more things in here. I have, leave them out. I have a water-soluble pencil so I can draw with it, although it doesn't really matter if it's water-soluble or not when it is gouache. It really kind of almost is harder because it dissolves the water. So I'll probably replace that with a nice mechanical pencil. And then I've got another one of these to put water in. So, oh, and lastly, I've got this little plastic thing that I can use to carry water that weighs nothing but the weight of the water. So that whole kit will fit in here. I might put a strap on it. I'm not sure. I can always sew something. But I'm going to get a little water out of this, and we're going to see how it works. So it'll be a test and a finishing of my World Watercolor Month sketchbook. Now, today I'm not going to pull one of these little towels out because I can just use a towel that I have right here. And then I don't have to cut more up for that. But let's get some water on these. If you watched my video where I filled this, I was a little concerned about how wet the Quin Rose was. It's a M grams, so I'm assuming that they maybe have honey in their gouache too. I don't know for sure, but they were very wet. The 2 M grams or 3 M grams I had. Sap green is M gram. Maybe it's just the 2. This one and this one. But it did set up, so I was pleased. I was a little worried. But I used M gram in my other one, and it didn't have a problem. And they dried kind of slowly. I didn't want them to dry real fast. They tend to crack more when you do that. So I thought it did all right. Now, I am going to use a watercolor background. So I'm going to get my watercolors out here. Okay, so I am going to do a wash in the background. So I'm just going to put, I'm going to do wet on wet. And then I am going to texturize it a little bit to get that sandy feel. And then we'll start with gouache. Okay, I'm going to call it quits. The last photo or last painting in my World Watercolor Month sketchbook for 2024. And it is Shell. And that is 7/31/24. And I hope you liked watching this. I think this worked pretty well. I have discovered I'm having trouble mixing a really dark, so I don't know if there's any adjustment I might make. Throw another one in the bottom there. Might do that. Anyway, so if you enjoyed this video, like I said, please give it a like and hit subscribe if you want to see more. And hit the cute little bell if you want to be notified. And if you would like to, please check out my Etsy shop where I have prints of my artwork along with cute little monsters and some other fun stuff for sale. Until next time, thanks for watching.